Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're jumping into the world of the neon tetra. You know, that little fish you see everywhere?
Right.
You might think it's just a pet store staple, but it's actually this huge global story. Our mission today is to really unpack that it's biology, it's wild history, the whole industry around it, and even how it's helped science.
It really is fascinating. Parachirodon and Nissi, that bright stripe is iconic, isn't it?
Totally.
But yeah, the story goes way beyond just looking pretty. It pulls together ecology, economics, even technology. It's quite something.
Okay, let's start with that stripe then, the neon bit.
Yeah.
You mentioned it's not pigment, which seems counterintuitive. How does that work?
Yeah, it's wild. It's structural color. Basically, tiny guanine crystals in the skin layers. Think microscopic mirrors.
Guanine crystals.
And the amazing part is it's dynamic. The color can shift, from that bright blue-green to a deeper indigo. It actually reactivates its shine. They think it works like tiny Venetian blinds. These little crystal platelets can actually tilt, changing how they reflect light. It's biological optics. Pretty cool stuff.
Wow, okay. And where do they come from originally, the wild ones?
Deep in the Amazon, we're talking these really slow-moving, dark rivers, blackwater streams, super acidic, pH down around 4.0, 4.8 sometimes, and incredibly soft water, shaded by trees.
So like the total opposite of a typical aquarium.
Pretty much. Well, the captive bred ones are more adaptable now, but yeah, the wild habitat is extreme. And that contrast hints at its pretty dramatic history.
Which involves, I read, a French explorer, Auguste Rebout.
That's the guy. 1934. Stumbles across these living jewels deep in the jungle, realizes instantly they could be big business. Kept the location secret, of course.
Smart, so how'd it go global?
Big money. Fast. He sold some to German importers in 35 for like an insane amount back then, $6,500. And then there's a really famous story, 1936. One single neon tetra makes it across the Atlantic on the Hindenburg airship, survived the flight to the Shed Aquarium in Chicago. Imagine the headlines. It just captured the public imagination.
A fish on the Hindenburg. That's incredible. So after all that hype, how did people actually figure out how to breed them, given those, extreme water conditions?
Yeah, that took a while. It was really after World War II, German aquarists finally cracked it. The secret was mimicking that Amazon water, super soft, acidic, and here's the key bit, almost complete darkness for the eggs and fry.
Darkness, okay.
Total darkness. And figuring that out, it wasn't just about neons. It kind of forced the whole aquarium hobby to get serious about water chemistry. It became more scientific, less guesswork, educated a whole generation.
Okay, so let's shift to the industry today.
Yeah.
Because there's this split, right?
Right.
Wild caught versus farm raised. And it's complicated.
Very. It's a real paradox. You've got the traditional wild fishery in the Rio Negro region of the Amazon. For thousands of local families, the Piaberos, catching these ornamental fish is their livelihood.
How do they catch them? Is it sustainable?
It's actually considered very low impact. They mostly collect fish from shrinking pools as the floodwaters recede, fish that would likely die anyway. This led to Project Piaba.
Project Piaba.
Yeah, their motto is buy a fish, save a tree. And the idea is simple. If the local people can make a living from catching fish sustainably, they have a direct economic reason to protect the rainforest, to fight deforestation. It connects conservation directly to livelihoods.
That sounds like a fantastic model.
But the vast majority of neons sold now, over 99%, are farm-raised. Huge operations, mostly in Southeast Asia and Eastern Europe. They're efficient, produce massive numbers, and the fish are cheaper.
So there's the paradox.
Exactly. If you, as a consumer, choose the cheaper farm-raised neon, which might even feel like the more ethical choice, avoiding wild capture, you might actually be undermining that whole buy a fish, save a tree system in the Amazon.
So the cheaper fish could inadvertently harm conservation efforts.
Potentially, yeah. It weakens the economic incentive for rainforest protection tied to the wild fishery. Plus, it's leading to genetic differences between the wild and farm stocks. It's a tough one. Efficiency versus this unique socio-ecological system.
That's a lot for consumers to think about.
Wow.
Okay, beyond the trade, has this tiny fish actually taught us anything? In science?
Oh, definitely. In animal behavior ethology, researchers have used robots mixed in with real neons. They call it aethrobotics.
Fish robots, seriously?
Yep, to study shoaling. They found the fish change position in the group depending on the situation. Like they cluster in the middle if they sense danger, move to the front if there's food, hang back otherwise. It's complex social behavior. And remember that dynamic stripe, that Venetian blind thing? That's inspired engineers. Biomimicry. Ideas for low-power flexible screens, even adaptive camouflage materials. Nature's design sparking new tech.
From a tiny fish stripe. Amazing. So, for anyone listening who might want to keep neons, any quick tips based on all this?
Well, think about their origins. A well-established tank, 10 gallons minimum, darker substrate is good, lots of plants for cover, stable water, ideally slightly soft and acidic, temps around 22, 26 Celsius, that's 72, 79 Fahrenheit.
And they need friends, right?
Absolutely crucial. They're a shoaling fish, minimum 6, but honestly 10 or more is much better. They feel safer and act more naturally in a group. Don't keep them alone.
Good advice. So wrapping this all up, the neon tetra, it's more than meets the eye, clearly.
It really is. It's like a living symbol of how everything's connected: remote ecosystems, global trade, science, conservation. The species itself isn't endangered, it's least concern. But the real vulnerability is that unique system in the Amazon, the wild fishery, and the conservation it supports.
Which leaves us with a pretty big question, doesn't it? For you, the listener, to think about. Can our global way of doing things actually support a model where people thriving means the environment thrives too? How do we choose or help create more options like a fish that saves a tree? Something to ponder next time you see that little electric blue stripe.